Did Marvel Studios make a mistake by stopping the marketing machine after New Year's for Avengers Doomsday and not release the trailer shown at CinemaCon Online? Marvel Studios has a lot riding on Avengers Doomsday. They need that massive, undisputed success, both critically and financially. The studio's reputation is on the line. We'll probably get that first trailer released by June, July, with the release of Spider-Man Brand New Home and San Diego Comic Con, where Marvel will be present in all age. Will it just be in time or too little too late? I guess in the multiverse, both will be true. This is the review of Champions, and I'm your host, Grandmaster. With me is a powerful panel made up of the finest champion cigar has to offer. Let me introduce them to you. First up, voice only, we have Lokismom. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Next up, we have back on the show, Mr. Taylor First. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
And last but not least, we have Merv. How are you, man?
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, that's the same answer every week. I like that. Today, we're going to talk about the episode 6 of the second season of Marvel Disney Plus show, Daredevil Born Again. But before we do that, like, share, and subscribe. Join our forum at cigar.freeforums.net and join our shows. Just make up an account at Cigar and you can join us in our discussions if you want. We're going to spoil the show, so heads up. If you haven't seen the episode yet, do that first and then come back to the video. The memorial for Vanessa Fisk turns into a rebellion against Major Fisk, and Daredevil gets some help from an old friend. And there she was, Loki's mom.
Yep, there she was. Finally, and she had a good episode too. She should have been a little earlier, I think, in the series, but you know what? She's here now, so.
Is this the last we've seen of her?
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's possible. She's there, I guess, because she had some information that she could have come forward sooner. I don't know why they had to wait to episode. What is this? Episode 8 or episode 7?
Episode 6.
Oh golly. Okay. Well, I'm a little ahead of myself. Well, even so, episode 6. We've got what, 2 more to go. Wow. Anyway. We'll see if she stays in there or not. But she was very effective. I thought. She brought her superpowers and her kick-ass ways
to
help out.
Memory muscle came back, and muscle memory, I should say, and I recognized her moves. It's nice. But enough about JJ. How did you like the first episode? Really short. How did you like?
Well, yeah, I thought it was a pretty good episode. Still, pretty much riding with how the other episodes have been. It wasn't an exception. It was a little bit more tightly controlled, made sense, and we complained last week about the continuity issues of the day versus the night scenes cut together. At least we didn't have that here, but yeah, it didn't really, as far as this narrative goes, which I'll get into in a little bit. I don't think it's really. I don't know where the narrative of the whole story is going, and I think I know why, but I'll talk about that later.
Okay, Taylor. We didn't hear you about episode 5, of course, last week. I saw episode 6 as a massive improvement. If you look at episode 5, but how are your views?
Well, episode 5, of course, was mostly flashbacks, and that's fine. They executed it well, but yeah, 6. You can look at it as being a superior episode because it, moves the main story along a lot more than the previous episode did. But I'm enjoying all the episodes so far.
Yeah. Okay. Merv, How about you? Episode 6, was it a massive improvement for you as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought episode 6 did a much better job for me at moving not just the main storyline, but all the storylines for the most part. I felt
Hmm.
like there weren't a whole lot of wasted scenes. Like everything felt like there was a reason for this scene to exist. It wasn't just, treading water just to get to something more interesting later on. It was actually good. So I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was a massive improvement over last week.
Yeah, no, as I mentioned, I agree. It was a much needed improvement, and yeah, we actually saw some characters introduced a few weeks back, and well, get shot in the back, but that's another story. Taylor, any criticisms of this week's episode?
Not really any criticisms. It's great seeing Jessica Jones. She's a great character, and Kristen Ritter is wonderful.
Hmm.
I felt she was a little bit forced into the episode. I don't know if she really needed to be there, but I'm not complaining because, like I said, she's a great character and she's always fun to watch.
Hmm.
I think this is just guess, but I don't think we're going to see her again until next season at this point,
Hmm.
unless maybe there's like a credit scene or an end scene in the final episode hinting at. But I don't think we're going to see her this week. Um, and that's fine as long as supposedly they're going to be doing big things with the Defenders in the next season. At
Hmm.
least that's what the let's hope they're not baiting us again with that. But it's always good to see her. Uh, Fisk in this episode was wonderful. I should say Vincent D'Onofrio's acting in this
Yeah.
episode was great. The loss of his wife and his mental response to it. I knew as soon as that doctor came in and started talking that he he was either going to get thrown out the window or crushed, and it ended up he got crushed.
Hmm.
He's Fisk, I guess, is not the kind of guy you want to try and comfort at that particular moment. Um,
Well, he gave
but
him a
the
hug.
Yeah, I gave him a hug, gave him a real
Mhm.
real big hug. um, the action scenes were good. The action scene with Jessica Jones and Daredevil in the warehouse. Um, I'm going to say there was that one moment, and I don't know, maybe I missed something somewhere. That one moment in that fight scene where Jessica Jones was doing her thing, and then the head task force guy, I think his name is Powell, if I remember right, starts fighting her, and she punches him right in the face, and it didn't kill him or knock him down or anything. So I don't know if he's been sneaking some super soldier serum or something that we don't know about. But that
Hmm.
seemed really strange because we all know she has the strength to throw people across the room anytime she wants to, and he just shook it off. So that I thought was really strange, and I don't know if they've ever explained it or not. Maybe they'll explain later why that
Hmm.
happened. But this action scene itself was great, well choreographed, and then the final action scene, the fight between Daredevil and Kingpin, was really good too. And they always do a good job in this show, and they've always done it even in the Netflix show. They've always done a good job of having each fighter, each person, whoever it may be, having their style and their skills and their abilities and their weaknesses, and really being able to choreograph around all of those things so that it's just really entertaining action work and fight scenes.
Hmm. There was actually a shot straight out of a comic book panel where Daredevil hits Fisk in the chin. That shot was actually directly from a comic book panel, so
Hmm.
they know their stuff. You can say that. Okay.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, I noticed that too. By the way, by that head of the task force, that he actually could stand his ground against Jessica Jones, which surprised me as well. So there's something going on there. Maybe we get an explanation. I hope so. But
Hopefully, we'll get some type of explanation for it. But other than that, yeah, the episode's great. The side story with BB and I always forget the guy's name. The
Daniel Blake, yeah.
yeah, the deputy mayor or whatever he is for publicity or whatever whatever his job is. But anyway, he's a great actor. He's a great character. Of course, now he knows that she's the one who's been leaking information. The question is what he's going to do with it. Is he going to help her get away? Is he going to let the hitman. I can forget his name's escaped me.
Buck.
Also, Buck. Let's gotta let Buck know about it and have him take her out. So we'll have to see what happens there. And of course, we also need to see what happens in the street, because I kept expecting a riot to break out or gunfire. The cops to open up on the crowd. That didn't quite happen. It escalated, but it didn't quite get that far, at least not yet. But they did catch Karen, so now she's going to be locked away somewhere. So a lot of stuff. The story is not. It's not an episodic show. It's very much a continuing story.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this particular episode did a pretty good job of advancing it.
Yeah. Merv, one thing I noticed, and Taylor hinted at that, Vincent D'Onofrio, he didn't speak a word for the first 30, 40 minutes in the episode. Only after Daredevil came to him, he started speaking. It was excellently acted, because everything was so clear what he was thinking, what he was feeling, and yet he didn't need to say it.
Yeah, I mean, when you're breaking the doctor's back, there's not a whole lot more you need to say with your words. But I totally agree. I actually didn't even notice that he didn't say anything. But yeah, I thought I'm Vincent D'Onofrio is fantastic all the time, but he's particularly great as Wilson Fisk.
Yeah.
I thought his grief was pretty obvious, and it really sold it home. Like everybody, I think we mentioned last week, or maybe even as far as 2 weeks ago, but we knew when this was going to happen that the gloves were going to come off, and he was going to go full psychotic criminal kingpin mayor. Just curious what it'll wind up escalating to. Is it going to be full blown riots in the streets of New York, or is it going to be, are they going to put a stop to it before that? That's the big question now. Yeah, I love this episode. I don't have a whole lot of criticisms, actually, which is probably the first the first time this whole season for me. Not even as far as editing or music or anything like that. I thought it all came together really well. Some particular highlights. One, the action was really great. The warehouse fight with Jessica Jones, it was fun to see her and Daredevil team up again. I do think that's probably all we're going to get at Jessica Jones this season. That's the way it feels to me anyway. Just because she can come in and out, do an action sequence, have a few lines, and there you go. There's your spot. But whether or not that she comes back for season 3 or whatever else, I don't know. But just with the way they've used other characters too, like swordsmen and things like that, they're just in and out of the show. So I don't expect to see her much again. But I agree totally with Taylor about the Fisk and Daredevil fight at the end. I noticed it too, where just Fisk is muscle and Daredevil's not, and it's the two different fighting styles coming together. They were able to tell that really well through the fighting itself, as they usually are. But some other good highlights. Bucky was Buck was all over this episode. There is a choke scene with Heather that I was like, where is this going? But I loved it because it's Bucky's over here, cutting bodies up with Daniel, and then he's over here just being the right hand to Fisk, and now he's choking or letting Heather choke him, and it's all over the place. And I'm very happy for Buck that he is getting to do all this stuff, and he became way bigger of a character. I said it from the gate, I was like, I really like this character. I'd never expected him to be threaded through all these storylines the way he is. Very interesting scene there. Daniel and Bibi at Daniel's mom's house, I thought was really well emotional. It was well acted, and there's tension boiling under the surface. I thought that was all really good. And the Karen and Bullseye scene was fantastic. I think that gave me what they were probably trying to do with Daredevil and Bullseye last episode, which is show the actual conflict of morality here. I believe that Karen wants to shoot Bullseye in the face. I never believed for a second that Daredevil was going to leave him behind as they were running from the anti-vigilante task force. And that's the difference in those two characters. I just don't. I didn't believe it last episode, and this episode, I never thought she would get to it. I knew something would stop her, but I believe that that's what she would have wanted to do. And I'm sure she would have regretted it if she had gone down that path. But just that conversation and what they're doing with the Bullseye character in general, like I'm familiar with Bullseye from the comics. I don't remember ever reading a story where he's this morally gray and this like self-loathing and like I don't know what the word is, but like he seems like he really wants to be redeemed, and I don't remember that from the comics at all. Comic Bullseye is a total psychopath, so I'm really interested in what they're doing with his character, and I totally understand where Karen's character is coming from, and I think that's an interesting clash, especially with Karen's ties to the Punisher and how close they are in
Mm-hmm.
this live action series and stuff. So just to highlight a couple other things I really like. This episode was jam packed full of interesting scenes and moments, though. I really had a good time watching it.
Yep. Well, Loki's mom, had also a few things to discuss about this week's episode, so the floor is yours.
Okay. Well, yeah, I agree. I think that the scene with who was the ATF, the AVTF guy that she socks him in the jaw. And yeah, and then you can see her reaction. That whoa, wait a minute. So yeah, I think Taylor's right. He's been sneaking some of the juice that Kingpin's been drinking somewhere, or he's getting, or maybe or it could be that he's a mutant because we keep forgetting this, the whole mutant thing. It lies in the background of these stories that whether they're born that way or they somehow got zapped by Roxxon special chemicals or whatever it is, that's they gain their superpowers that way. So he may have be somebody that's had it all along. We don't know, but we'll find out. Hopefully, I do think they're moving him up to be a major villain for the upcoming series. He and Buck Cashman too. I'm not sure how much Vincent D'Onofrio will be in the upcoming series, although I think he's already scheduled to be in some of it. I don't know, but um, yeah, I think they're kind of. I think this is what a lot of this whole season has been about: is setting up, in which they didn't really wasn't planning on. I don't think back in the first season, but this season we're getting a lot of this extra stuff that just is cumbersome. I think maybe they re-edited some stuff after they had already shot it, just so they could accommodate. Oh well, we need to fit this character. We need to get introduce this character, so it'll make sense down the road. Yeah, I do hope we get to see Jessica Jones again, but you're probably right. I think we're just letting know that she's back. She's still around, and that she'll be back at some point. There's kind of like no explanation. I think her child is supposed to be one of the Luke. Is it Luke Cage's daughter? I'm not sure, but I think they left it ambiguous in this series so that we'll find out who her father is, and we'll probably get more of Jessica's backstory and whatnot. Because she's a very interesting character. I just really didn't watch too many episodes of the Netflix episode, but yeah, that's just some of my complaints as far as that. But the yeah, absolutely, the acting. Vincent D'Onofrio was wonderful. There's that great scene where he's not talking. Mr. Charles is talking to him on the phone, and all he does is react to what Charles is saying. So that was really a well played scene. And then, of course, the action. We didn't really get any action at all last episode, and then this one I think has two pretty good scenes. Not barn burners, but well done and enjoyable. And yeah, and two, Daredevil was he was kind of downplayed a little bit until finally he has his showdown with Kingpin at the end, and another well choreographed fight scene. And um, yeah, but as far as the plot, here again, I think the biggest issue has just been the plot, the main plot, which I think has been so cumbersome, and we don't know where it's going. And it's really gotten to be more about the characters and what they're going through. And they mentioned uh, Bullseye. He's sort of on the reformation path too. That they do so many with so many of the characters, and I'm thinking maybe Poindexter was something like what they talk about. I don't know how real it is, but that MK Ultra program that's in real life where they allegedly trained all these assassins and people like that. So I think maybe that may be his backstory is that he's what he was trained to he was turned into that monster that he became.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so and if that's the case, we know why, and that we would have some sympathy for him, even if we couldn't really forgive his deeds because they've been
Mhm.
horrible up to this point.
Mhm.
But yeah, like you say, a really good episode. Yeah, I don't know that whole sort of psychosexual thing that happened between what's her name, Heather, and Buck was really weird. And this is Disney too. We're still on Disney Channel. Uh, yeah, so hopefully hopefully the next two episodes are going to wrap everything up and it'll all make sense. And but overall, it was a really really good episode.
Yeah, I agree. It was a good episode. I also don't have much criticisms or anything about this episode. And yeah, that scene between Buck and Heather was weird. Weird. May this love never find me. But anyway, I think it's time to rate this week's episode. I'm going to start with you, Merv. Can I have your number for this week's episode?
You sure can. Real quick, I just wanted to bring this up. I forgot to mention it during my thing, but there was a line thrown in with Jessica Jones's powers about her pregnancy affecting them. Like she says like they drop out all the time randomly. It's like there's not an owner's manual to this thing. So it wouldn't surprise me if like her punching him was just like a glitch in her powers, because even Daredevil
Oh,
mentions like she has like a cracked
Yeah,
rib.
that's true.
Yeah. I'm
Good
just throwing it
catch.
out there that like maybe it's not going to be some grand thing or anything. It's just she had a baby. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as my score for these episodes, I'm going to give them a 9.5 because like I said, I had it's a total huge swing from last week, and I couldn't really think of many criticisms at all to come across. So yeah, I'm going to say this episode was almost perfect.
Lokismom, your number?
I will give this episode an 8.
Fair enough, fair enough. Taylor?
yeah. Good catch, Merv. I forgot about that line about her powers glitching. That's probably what it was. The one other thing that we didn't mention, of course, is Mr. Charles is very upset with Kingpin. I guess the weapons are gone. Kingpin took them, and he's went and told the governor that he was going to take care of this situation. So there's a whole nother thread there of a whole, who knows what type of enemy is coming after the Kingpin now and is trying to take him out. So that'll be interesting to see how that wraps up. Overall, great episode. So I'll give it a 9 out of 10.
Well, I've been also not holding back on being harsh on the show, but this week I cannot complain about anything. I will join Taylor in giving you this a 9 out of 10. Yeah, seems fair. There's also always the possibility we get a major team up of Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Bullseye, White Tiger, and Swordsman to bring down the Kingpin in the last episode, which is still possible.
That
And
would
that
be
will
awesome.
lead to Daredevil being so fond of teams again that he will join with the Defenders again in September.
Yep.
Well, they better hurry it up.
You never know. But we'll see. We'll have to wait a year for that, but we'll see that. That will conclude this week's review of Daredevil Born Again Season 2. It was for episode 6. We hope you have enjoyed our discussion today. If you did, help us out by liking, sharing, and subscribing. And join our forum at cigar.freeforms.net. We would love it if you do that. Next week, we will be back to discuss episode 7. Really? We go from 6 to 7? Yeah, never mind. Please check out our review series for Maul Shadow Lord as well. For now, I want to thank you all also on behalf of my fellow champions and wish you to be safe and be well. Bye.